I get a very common question about fever and how to recover faster after fever. So, usually after fever, people feel tired and weak and unable to get back to their usual routine, and that is a cause of concern for a lot of people. Uh, and I'm talking about a viral fever. And usually, a viral fever it'll take 3 or 4 days out of your routine because you'll have fever and you'll be out. And after that, you'll have a period of fatigue that lasts 2 to 4 weeks, or maybe even longer in cases of infections like COVID. Uh, the fatigue and the brain fog and the lack of motivation, all of that can last for much longer. So that's what you call long COVID. But the same kind of phenomenon can happen in regular viral fevers also. And this is mainly a lack of energy. This is literally a lack of energy because the body is not able to process energy properly and give it to your cells for use. So it might be a problem with producing enough ATP, or it might be a problem with not being able to produce enough ATP in a clean manner. So it can produce the body might be producing enough ATP, but there's also a lot of free radical production, and the free radicals will then cause inflammation and make you less efficient at using the ATP that is produced. So all of these problems are expected in a case where there's been a viral infection and it takes time for it to heal. So the most important thing to remember is that it takes time, and this is because the mitochondria are not back to full function after an infection. So the mitochondria is where you burn your fuel using oxygen, and the mitochondria are what give you ATP that can then be used as energy for all the functions in your body. Now, when a viral infection happens, it usually affects the mitochondria, and this and it takes this damage to the mitochondria takes time to repair. Some mitochondria will repair themselves. Some of them will have to be replaced. Others will have to be phagocytosed, and that is broken down and recycled. So this process takes time. You might have seen people with dengue having a drop in platelets. This is not just because the dengue virus is attacking the platelets directly. It's because the platelets are they are sacrificing themselves and supplying mitochondria to the cells that have damaged their own mitochondria. So the platelets actually run around and give the other cells mitochondria from their own insides, and this causes a drop in platelets. But that's again expected. And so coming back to the topic, how do you get back to a normal routine after a viral infection? First important thing is you'll have to wait. So it can take up to 4 weeks, usually 2 weeks. Now, in the meantime, while you're waiting, what you need to do is make sure that you're sleeping okay, that you're not staying late up at night, that you're sleeping at the same time every day, and you're waking up at the same time every day. That's one thing. Then the other thing is you need to make sure that you're getting enough sunlight, because sunlight gets you infrared radiation, and infrared radiation is what is very beneficial for mitochondria to function at their peak. So make sure that you get some sunlight, and it can be any time of the day. And if you are feeling weak, you'd be better off with the early or the late parts of the day. For example, a sunset kind of a time or a sunrise kind of a time. And the longer you spend in the sun, usually the better you'll feel. So when you're sick and too tired to do anything else, grab a chair and sit outside in the veranda. So that's sunlight exposure. Then the next thing that you need to think about is exercise. Now, you must remember that the mitochondria are already not functioning very well, and you ask the mitochondria to produce a lot more energy for something like exercise. That is going to put a bit of a challenge forward to the mitochondria. And when the mitochondria is not working properly and you ask it to produce more energy, you usually end up damaging them more, which is the main reason for why we tell you to rest after a viral infection. If you go rushing back into exercise too early, your body is trying to produce mitochondria, it is trying to repair mitochondria, and that's when you start asking for more and more energy. And it's like um, it's like revving an engine that is under repair. So it is an engine that is not up to its normal functioning, and you ask it to produce more and more power. You usually end up causing more and more damage. So you'll have to take time before you get back into exercise. At the same time, it doesn't mean you don't exercise, because a little bit of movement is very helpful in improving your energy production. So you should start off with things like foam rolling or a little stretching or even walking. But again, you'll have to walk at a slow pace. It'll have to be enjoyable. You shouldn't be panting, you shouldn't be sweating. It should be a very easy activity. And once you get moving and you find that you're not getting sore or you're not having any new symptoms, then you can gradually increase your exercise intensity. But going right back to the gym or going right back to the cycle or running as soon as your fever is over is a bad idea. You won't feel very good, and usually it'll make things worse. Then the last thing, things that you can do to help your mitochondria with your diet and supplements. So as far as possible, try and stay away from refined carbohydrates like sugar, and you start using more and more fresh foods, vegetables, fruits, whatever. Organ meats are good to improve your mitochondrial function. So because they are a good source of B complex and they are a good source of CoQ10, they also contain a lot of trace elements like minerals. So make sure that your food is unprocessed, doesn't contain sugar, doesn't contain refined sugar, and that will help you recover faster. Make sure that you're not overeating, because eating is not going to produce more energy. This is not a problem of lack of calories, it is a problem with being able to process the fuel that you already have in your body. So eating itself is an active process, and if you overeat, you can end up taxing your energy systems in the mitochondria. So it is always best to eat according to appetite and not to overeat in the effort to feel more energetic. So that was the other thing. And paradoxically enough, fasting can help you. I don't mean fasting for long periods. I mean fasting for 12 to 16 hours a day. So which is natural, which is how we should be eating anyways. You have an early dinner and have a slightly later breakfast, and you'll get a decent amount of fasting period, which is 12 to 16 hours. Make sure that you get enough protein, make sure that you get enough fat, and go easy on the grain based carbohydrates and the refined carbohydrates. Carbohydrates that come from fruits and vegetables are less of a challenge to your mitochondria. So this is a small video on, it's not an exhaustive video, so if you've got doubts you can ask me questions in the comments, and I'll try to answer them in the comments or in a follow-up video or a follow-up article. Thank you.